Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Anthony Cacace stops Leigh Wood in 9 rounds, a TKO. The towel came in with Wood under some hellacious pressure, and a great win for the southpaw Kakache, who boxed most of this fight orthodox, or much of it anyway. He retains his IBO super featherweight title for whatever that's worth, but he said afterwards this was a money fight. He's 36 years old, as is Leigh Wood, and neither of these guys looked anywhere close to being shot. I mean, Kakache has never looked better, ever. He actually moved to 24 victories with 9 KOs. He hits harder than the 9 KOs suggests. He's got that one defeat, which is a unanimous 12-round decision to Martin J. Ward back in 2017. Seems like a lifetime ago. That was for the British and Commonwealth super feather titles. But, you know, having picked up victories over Sam Bowen, who was undefeated at the time, Leon Woodstock was a pretty good name. You know, he defeated a guy called Michael Magnese, who was undefeated in 21. That was a split decision. He kind of gradually kept chipping away, and of course he got his big coming out party against Joe Cordina over in Riyadh last year, a year ago to the month. That stopped him in 8 rounds, beat Josh Warrington on points. That was at Wembley Stadium. And now he's gone into Leigh Wood's backyard in Nottingham and stopped him in 9 rounds. Now, of course, Wood had 2 things that you could say were going against him. One is that he was moving up a weight from featherweight, where he was completely drained. But he'd also had 18 months out of the ring. And did it show? I mean, initially, the first few rounds, I thought, no, Wood's doing all right. A good jab, very quick. The jab seems to be the hook that was going to keep him in the fight. And once that became somewhat negated by Kakache's sheer craftiness and his own jab and his own, the punches that he hung off his own jab, it was a case of Wood began to kind of not lose his way, but just be second best, I guess, just second to the punch. Kakache is such a crafty guy. He really is. He boxes really intelligently. That's not to say Wood boxes badly. He does box well. He can box well. But he's renowned for power. And at the higher weight, against a man who looked visibly bigger, he was always going to struggle to have the same effect with his power punches that he did on featherweights. But he gave his usual fearless, guts by the bucket effort. He did bloody Kakache's nose. Wood himself, I think he cut Kakache under the eye as well. Wood himself had, by the end of it, had a bloody nose, maybe a bit of a cut inside the mouth as well. But gradually, Kakache's, variety of work, and probably his chin and his superior size began to sort of just grind down Wood. There's no doubt he was winning at the time of the stoppage, Kakache. I don't know what the scores were at the time. But even though Wood's got a good chin himself, there were a couple of occasions in the mid-rounds where Wood did look a little bit, not buzzed badly, but he was getting hit quite cleanly. And it looked like he was feeling the weight of the bigger man's punches. And of course, he wouldn't be used to this because not only has he had 18 months out of the ring, this was his first fight at super featherweight. Kakache, though, on a complete roll, just getting better and better. The wins over Cordina and Warrington. I know Warrington was really a featherweight himself, but the momentum that Kakache has got at this late stage of his career is a sight to behold. And if ever there was a guy who won a world title belt and then suddenly improved immediately, yeah, I mean, this is that man. He's fighting like a 26-year-old or 28-year-old, not a 36-year-old. And Wood, afterwards, I mean, he slipped to, 28 wins with 17 KOs. He's got 4 defeats now, 3 are by stoppage, no draws. He was talking about, they were asking him the inevitable question, you're going to quit now? You're going to call it a day? And he said, I'm not going to make a spur of the moment decision at 36. There may still be fights out there. A rematch with Warrington, maybe. I don't know. Just, you know. But at super feather, I just wonder if the power, you can't quite carry the power up. Because he did look much smaller than Kakache, although Kakache is a big super feather. So I suppose it's all relative. I mean, Wood was 3 inches short. Was he 5'7" roughly? So he's about 3 inches shorter than Kakache, but broader in the shoulders. Kakache looked as well. And it was just a bit too much in every department for Wood, who, again, he didn't box badly. But in the 9th round, towards the end of the 8th round, I think Wood felt the fight was slipping away, and he really started to let his hands go. It was like, okay, I'll go shit or bust. I'll just get stuck in, and big hooks coming Kakache's way. Kakache didn't really, he didn't really look bad. He didn't really look shaken at all. In fact, he started to exchange with Wood, and then Wood kind of picked up where he left off at the start of the 9th round. It was like, I'm going straight at you, and we're going to have a tear up. And he was just getting caught way too much. He was shaking his head. Nah, I'm all right. Nothing wrong with me. Thank you very much. Go on, keep throwing the punches. And so Kakache said, thank you very much, I will. And he started to throw salvos of punches, to the body. There were uppercuts coming in, hooks from both hands. Wood, brave as hell, blood coming out of his mouth and his nose, shakes his head. Body punches were really snapping Wood in half. And then there was a hook that sent Wood sprawling back into the ropes, and the referee stepped in to administer a count. And then as soon as the Wood was waved back into the fray, Kakache picked up where he left off, and again the body punches are real rib benders, uppercuts, body punches, hooks up and down and up. And at one point, Wood, who was really badly shaken, actually ran. He sort of did a little semicircle and then ran away from Kakache with his back to him, and was about to turn around and face him again because he ran out of space. And that's when Ben Davison threw the towel in. The towel actually hit the referee in the face, and the referee looked like he was about to stop it anyway. But it was a good call by Davison, because Wood he'll never quit. You got to nail him to the canvas. He wasn't going to quit, but it was a very good win for Kakache, a very good decision by Davison to save Wood for another day if he wants to carry on. If he doesn't, he's had a great career. He's been a 2-time belt holder at featherweight. But I do think the size, he looks like someone who's between two divisions. I know there's only 4 pounds difference between feather and super feather, but he looks slightly too big for featherweight and a little bit too small perhaps for super feather. But he may continue. And like I say, a rematch with Warrington. Warrington is on the comeback. Maybe they can both meet at super feather and have a rematch. But whatever the case, Kakache moves on. He has got Frank Warren behind him. Frank Warren said, "We're going to have a homecoming for you in Belfast," which is great. He's earned it. Bear in mind that he's fought twice in Britain, once in Riyadh. These are his last 3 fights. That's where the money is, of course. He's a have gloves, will travel guy. And he deserves it. I hope he makes a lot of money, because his career was a slow burner, and he's looking better than ever. He looks like he's got at least another 2 years at the top in him, Anthony Cacace. So what did you think? Do you think Leigh Wood should retire? Who do you think Kakache should face next? What do you think of his overall performance? Do you think the inactivity and maybe the new weight division worked against Wood? Probably did, but you tell me what you think. Comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, because it helps us out a great deal and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, not a bad night's boxing, was it? Not bad at all. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.